I have one halide. This is iodine. Iodine's not difficult to get, but I also need bromine. And bromine's a little more complicated. So I'm going to really need to kind of make my own bromine. I'm going to follow the technique of a guy called Aussie Chemist on YouTube. I'll put a link in the description below about making bromine out of this stuff, which is sodium bromide, which is a pool chemical. And the way the Aussie Chemist did it was using electrolysis to produce his chemical. And he used a kind of an ingenious little device here called a salt bridge to do it. And if the way he did it, if you use a salt bridge, there are other chemicals that are necessary if you don't use this technique, which frankly I don't have and I'm not even sure I can get. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. First thing is, I took some of this fake salt. This is potassium chloride. Put it in here. I don't know. There's some fillers in here. It's not pure potassium chloride. I hope that doesn't hurt me. We'll get it all hot. I don't know the right amount of potassium chloride, so I'm going to go with more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this stuff here, agar-agar. It's a seaweed-based compound that forms a gel when you dissolve it in hot water. When it cools, it'll be a thick consistency, and I'm going to put that inside this. Agar-agar, very much loved by the goop crowd. I'll probably make a little bit of extra, and that extra is going to go directly up my ass. So no need to worry, friends. No waste of the agar-agar. So this isn't my first run-in with agar-agar or salt bridges. Rather not really explain why I'm experienced. Had something to do with Burning Man. All one does is just fill it up, and I think I've made way too much here. That's okay, just more for the ass then. Now we're going to let those set up. Yeah, I needed about 1/4 of what I made, but I only have the 2 salt bridges. So we're going to put these in the fridge and let them sit up, and then we'll do our next evolution. While our salt bridges are setting up, we'll go ahead and make our sodium bromide solution here. My electrodes are formed by these little graphite rods, and all I'll do is just take some of the same sheet copper and put them, wrap it around them to just give it a little something to hold it in place, and also something to attach my current source to. So that's how my rod just goes right there. Can adjust the height. Give it a little bit of sodium bromide here. I've learned from past experience it needs to be pretty full, because this is my first rodeo on this. So apparently the best way to store bromine is an ampule, because otherwise it just escapes. But ampules are expensive. Now, test tubes are cheap, so I figured to do this. So it's 30 volts at a very low current load, which is my understanding that I shouldn't use a lot of current because it will tear up my electrodes. I'll show you my setting over there. So as you can see, I'm running 30 volts at a low current setting, which is my understanding that that's what you're supposed to do, and dripping off. And so there you go, dripping off the end of that electrode is elemental bromine. Sorry for the steady cam, but you can see that it's working. We're going to leave this for a couple of days and see what happens. So as I noted earlier, I'm using the technique that was on YouTube by a guy named Aussie Chemist, and I'll put a link below. So there I am. I'm passing an electric current here through my electrolytic cell using that salt bridge. The nice thing about the salt bridge is it relieves me from needing chemicals that I would otherwise need in order to drive this to completion. I don't need those for that. So here on the black electrode, I've got bubbles coming up off my carbon rod, and dripping off of the end of the other side is a steady little stream of elemental bromine. And I guess what I do is I just sit here and wait. Could take several days. I'll see if I can get any closer for you. Just look at it. It's just kind of slowly dripping off the end of that electrode. Sorry, it's a handheld shot. It's about as close as I can get and not in particularly good focus, but we're just going to give that a few days and wait for bromine to collect on the bottom of that beaker there. I think I may have overrun the cell because it was prettier a couple days ago. One observation I made is that these salt bridges, they actually are the highest level of resistance in the system, so they actually function as a current limiter, and in order to get any current through them at all, you have to turn the voltage up fairly high, and what that does is it cooks the salt bridges, so they get really hot, and then they turn black, and funny, as they get hot and turn black, the resistance goes down, and the production of bromine actually goes up. Lost a little bit of the stuff in the salt bridges, but not too bad. Now my electrodes suffered rather badly, and that was something that was in the original video as well. I've got a lot of dark residue on the bottom of this thing, but I don't know if it's carbon or if it's actually bromine. So, I mean, I guess we'll just have to take a look at it and see what's in there. It doesn't look like a liquid. Well, no, there's a liquid in there. Okay, well, let's take a look. In fact, let's just go ahead and decant some of this supernatant so we're not dealing with quite as much liquid. I'm not feeling good about it. It looks like it's mostly just carbon, although it's got a very strong bromine odor, and it's actually fuming a little bit. It actually smells quite bad, so let's see if I can get any bromine out of here. Oh, daggone, look at that. Look at that, elemental bromine. I wasn't really expecting to get it, so I wasn't ready. Well, I had to switch to a respirator because, whoa, there's bromine in there. There's a lot of bromine in there. Well, I'm not doing that again without a fume hood. I've got to work on my ampuling techniques too, because I've melted these things about 8 times, and well, finally that one doesn't leak, finally. See? Still leaks, no matter how hard I try. I cannot seal that damned ampule. So I have 2 ampules of, I don't know, a milliliter of very dirty product. I mean, I did make it work. The yield's terrible. I need a fume hood. I can't do this again without a fume hood. Okay. So anyway, I recorded that back in April. That was kind of in the height of COVID, and you know, honestly, I wasn't ready for that. I didn't have the respiratory protection that I needed, and I coughed for about 3 days, and I was short of breath for most of that time. And I was just thinking, God, if COVID gets me now, I'm going. But that put me off my feed for a bit. I really didn't play around with anything for a while after that. Anyway, here is my bromine. This one's not very nice. It's really dirty. They're both dirty. But this one's got that really kind of cool red color that you associate with bromine. Not very much bromine at all. I've actually tried making bromine a couple other times, and I'm still having serious problems with my vialing technique, even though I've actually decided that the only really good way to ampule bromine is to get ampules. So I have ampules if I can ever make bromine again. So I'll be doing that. Let's call this an episode. Thanks very much for watching. Please feel free to like, subscribe if you want, and of course if you don't want, that's fine too. I'll just be working here, and you can tell your friends if you want, and if they don't want to watch, I'm a-okay with that. I'm just working. Thanks very much for watching. Have a great day.